Welcome to Coaching to Integration, the art and science of transformational coaching approaches and ICF Core Competencies with Laurel Elders, Master Certified Coach and ICF Trained Mentor Coach, bringing 20 years of practice to your inbox.
What happens when you have an epiphany and then that epiphany goes nowhere? It turns into a missed opportunity. So today, lesson number 9 is all about how do we wrap up a session? Because if we have a new insight, if our client gets to a new insight and it stays in the world of ideas, then it doesn't go anywhere. And an effective wrap up is the perfect way to bring the insight to life. So lesson 8, we went into all the dynamics of effective agenda setting and then the purpose of that. And each part of a coaching session, a high impact coaching session, has a purpose. It has a reason. There's a method to the madness. So having an agenda invites clarity. In other words, the end goal helps us reverse engineer how to reach success. Next, we have the body of the coaching, which is the art and science of masterful coaching. And then we have the wrap up. And the wrap up is where the integration happens and the insights anchor. And I have found that, the challenge with the agenda setting and then also the wrap up is a lot of coaches just want to skip that part. They just want to stay in the coaching and they miss really opportune moments to foster integration when we skip through the wrap up. And I do like to say that the opening and the wrap up of masterful coaching is always going to be covering really key bases, whereas the body of the coaching is more of an art. It's also a science, but there's more of an art to it. But in the wrap up, there's really effective bases to cover. So one, we want to call time when it's time to wrap up. This helps the client gear towards the integration and homework and next steps pieces. So in any session, whether it's 30 minutes, 45, or an hour, it's really key to call time about anywhere from 12 to 8 minutes until the session is about to end. Next, we want to invite the client to assess the progress that's made, not the coach. I see coaches make that mistake where they start to reflect back everything that they've heard. Let the client do that work. Then, if the client accidentally leaves something out that you've heard, you can offer that at that point. But it actually helps the client integrate their own learning and understanding and next steps if they do the progress review. This is also where we ask about logistical pieces, so we can bring the insights and the direction to life by just asking about what next steps are you committing to, what timelines do you have, and then of course double checking, do you need any accountability, resources, support? So what are we going to do to help? It's all about equipping the client to succeed. And that's what I love about coaching, is that it is so results driven. And in the wrap up, we can pull all of those elements together so that we're sending the client off fully equipped. Could anything get in the way? That is a question that I see left out quite a bit. And it is such a rich habit to get into. This is because oftentimes a client might be looking forward to their next steps and they aren't given the opportunity to assess what could get in the way so that they already have a backup plan. They don't have to come back with a failure next time. So pre-thinking that out means the closing of the session is going to take a little bit longer. So if we push the close of the session right up to a couple minutes till, we don't have time for those types of questions. Another integration question, what are you learning about yourself? What is this teaching you about who you are? All of those really rich questions can come at the end. And then I always appreciate the question, is there anything else before we wrap up? Or any variation of that, right? If there's a way that you can just assess, does the client feel complete? Another tip that I have for a really impactful wrap up is to embrace PCC marker 6.1. And that is, coach's questions and observations are customized by using what the coach has learned about who the client is or the client situation. So this can be something as simple as when you're inviting the client to do the wrap up, the progress assessment, remember to use the client's goal. So inviting the client to say, what progress do you feel you've made towards insert the goal, or insert the language, the context that the client has used. The other thing is to invite in a really bigger picture implications. So this is where we're heading more into MCC perspective of how can what was explored today impact who the client is in the world? What are the bigger implications for their life in the future? Those types of explorations can be so powerful in the integration process. So there you have it. Simple, but powerful. For those in the deeper dive, stay tuned because we're going to look at how do you handle if a bigger agenda comes up towards the end of the session, what to do with that. Stay tuned and happy coaching all.